Hello everybody and welcome back to Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. I'm Kurukan and thank you for joining me, and the weather's still crappy. Oh my god, why am I up at 2:30 a.m.? That's pretty early. Alright, wow, my character doesn't even sleep anymore, does he? Where am I going? Anyway, the weather's still crappy out here, so hopefully this will record and won't take out my power. I know in between episodes, that's right, 2 episodes in one session again. Oh man! I know in between sessions, I had a YouTube video playing in the background, and internet was, you know, pretty much crapping out completely during it. Why am I going in here? Watch, that cow's going to... Son of a bitch! You see, cow, this is why I don't trust you. But, okay, I guess the horse is asleep. Holy crap, what am I supposed to even do? Anyway, what was I saying? Right, I was talking about how my internet crapped out anyway. Then before that, during the previous episode... Okay, can I maybe not perp? I hope you guys couldn't hear that. Oh, it's all gross and acidic and everything. Anyway, I was talking about Devil May Cry 2 during the previous episode. I'm gonna try something real quick. I don't think it deserves all the hate it gets. It deserves some of it, don't get me wrong. It's definitely not as good as the first. You can tell that they rushed it and slapped Devil May Cry's name onto a game that wasn't Devil May Cry. Okay, that's nothing. Did it work? Nope. Okay. Not a real waste of time since I've got too much time to use anyway. But, I still don't quite get why people claim, you know, it's the worst game ever, that kind of thing. It's average. Like, completely average. I know a lot of people were upset that Dante's personality was, you know, made a bit more quiet and even a bit humorless, although that's not even entirely true. There's not a lot of story, at least on Dante's side of the game, which is the only side I've done so far. But, you know, towards the end, I started to see a bit of classic Dante in there. You know, there's a few one-liners. They're not as good as the first games, mind you, but there's a few, and when he finishes off the final boss, he has a big ol' smug grin. And, you know, that was fun. I like that way of finishing the game off. But, you know, I get it. I get why a lot of people hate the game. It's inferior to the first game in a lot of ways. The strangest thing is, I think its graphics are actually better than the first Devil May... Or, not the first. Well, definitely the first. Not that the first one was ugly. But I think the graphics are overall better in Devil May Cry 2 than even Devil May Cry 3's. At least when it comes to the character models. Dante in particular looks really detailed. He's fluently animated. I mean, when you watch him in motion, there's a lot of motion there, and it looks really great. But, you know, Devil May Cry 3, I don't think it looks as good. I'm a bit sad to say that. Don't get me wrong, Devil May Cry 3 is better in every possibly conceivable way. But, you know, that's just my thoughts on it. If you still stack them up, Devil May Cry 2 is on the bottom. Although, if I'm being entirely honest, I think I like it a little more than DMC. Not the first Devil May Cry, but the terrible, terrible reboot. Okay, which isn't entirely terrible, but it's pretty bad. I know a lot of people like it, but I totally get it when people say that the game feels like a downgrade gameplay-wise, and frankly, Dante. I refuse to call that thing Dante, but Dante is... he's obnoxious. I mean, he's so annoying. Everything he says is so cringy, and he has a stupid face. I'm not trying to be hateful, but he has a stupid... Up yours, cow! He has a cow's face. There, I said it. But, yeah, DMC, it is not a game that I like at all. I don't think it's unplayable, and frankly, it probably is a better game than Devil May Cry 2. But Devil May Cry 2 didn't make me cringe. It didn't impress me, but it didn't make me cringe. So, yeah, I'm sticking with that. Yeah, that reboot. That was a bad idea every bit of the way. And the director or whatever, that Tamim guy, I don't know his full name. Maybe that's the only name he went by, I don't know. I'm gonna say it. He's a douchebag. The fact that he's sitting there constantly insulting fans of the classic games and, you know, just saying all these hateful things toward the franchise that came before, and basically spitting in the faces of everybody who liked the originals. That's not okay, dude. I know it's been years. It's been, what, 3 years since DMC first came out? I don't remember. But, you know, just the way he handled it was disgustingly unprofessional. I'm not trying to hate the people who do like DMC, or even the people that like Reboot Dante. No, I'm not hating on you. If you like it, fine. You have that right. But even you gotta admit, the way he was behaving was so unprofessional. That's like something I would do. Unprofessionally, of course. I'm always a professional. Except for when I'm not. Like when I'm playing this game, for instance. But, yeah, I really don't like the reboot at all. I don't like the people involved with the reboot. I don't like the personality of the reboot. The grungy, emo, douchebaggery of it all. I don't know any other way to, you know, define it. Classic Dante is a dork. He's an over-the-top, 80s action hero. And you know what? That's fine by me. Stupid, over-the-top 80s action hero characters are... What's wrong, kid? I guess he's angry because he doesn't get to stay in and watch cartoons. Oh, let's talk to the doctor. But, I don't think I hate DMC as much as some people do. However, I understand why those people hate DMC so much. I wanted to like it. You guys saw me play the demo, but the main character is just so crappy. I'm fine with these over-the-top smart-ass protagonists. But that wasn't over-the-top or smart-ass. That was just... That's a guy trying way too hard to be cool when he's simply not. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. The old one, when he made a bad one-liner or whatever, there was a charm to it. When he threatened an enemy, it was almost always a sarcastic bit. I mean, yeah, he had terrible lines like, "Flock off, Featherface." But you could tell that it's nowhere near as meant to be, taken seriously. I think that's the problem I had with DMC, is they took this obnoxious character and put him into a way too grim, dark world and tried to make him be the only one who can see the truth. He's the one true good guy or whatever, and it's just like, You can't do that with a character who does nothing but spout, F-bombs. The wife who likes my cooking. And now I'm gonna give her a weird statue. But, that's my thoughts on it. There's a time and place for those kinds of characters, but he felt really wrong. I don't know what happened to Ninja Theory, if they're still around after that or not. I forget what the other game they developed was, but I know one of their games was Heavenly Sword, and that was supposed to be a pretty good action game, but it suffered from being way too short. I also heard the puzzles were kind of dumb. You throw hats at bells or something? I don't know. I didn't play it, I'm just going by what I've heard. I had played DMC, and I really wish I had. Oh, that's right, today's Van Day. No digging this time. I don't dig it. That was a terrible pun. I apologize. I know there were a lot of, apparently counter-arguments to DMC's Dante from... Actually, I don't know, maybe it was the director himself, but they were saying stuff like, how did they word it? The only people that don't like him because he actually gets laid. It's like, really? You're saying that to the people you're supposed to be getting to buy your game? Why? What are you doing, horse? But, it just felt really, really out of place to have this guy sitting there bashing the fan base when, reboot or not, your game should always try to appeal to people in that, who are fans of that franchise. It's fine to want to draw in more fans. I'm all for that. But you need to do it in a way that doesn't alienate what comes before it. Personally, I think that's kind of the route that Nintendo's gone. They're so busy trying to get all the casual gamers that they forgot, oh yeah, these guys like to play video games too! Oh, what game was it? Do you remember what it was, or even who the director was, but somebody at Nintendo was attacking the fan base because they didn't like a particular aspect of one of his games, and he decided to reply, oh, well, you're playing it wrong. What? Now, that's not to say there isn't definitely a way to play certain games right, but to go so far as to tell your fan base that they're playing it wrong because they aren't enjoying it? I don't know, it seems a little bit conceited. That, again, just my two thoughts, 2 cents on it. You don't have to take my word as word of God. Maybe even I got the information wrong. I hear a lot of random stuff. That being said, God, I hate DMC. Not the other DMCs, not the ones that capital D, capital M, capital C. It's that reboot one. That game made me cry. It really upset me. I don't know, I look at that, then I look at, like I said, even Devil May Cry 2. Dante might not be as interesting as he was in the first game, but at least he didn't piss me off. I mean, every time Dante opens his mouth, it's always some cringeworthy line. Every expression he makes, it's always that stupid grin. Oh god, I hate that grin. I'm not joking when I say I want to punch that character. And then, you know, just the general insults made to the fan base of the originals. It's like, this is how you're trying to make money, by spitting in the face of the fans. Well, I can see how that's gonna go for you. And I think most people who tried it didn't entirely hate the game itself. But they took a few too many creative liberties. They always say, well, it shouldn't be exactly the same. It's a reboot. Fair enough. But there are certain things that you just cannot change with these. Let's be honest. Dante is about as much Dante as Zack Snyder's Man of Steel was to Superman. It has nothing to do with the character. It has nothing to do with the lore. And it goes beyond just the appearance. Though I do also hate both of those rebooted characters' appearances. I think they both look really, really stupid. And that's saying a lot for freaking Man of Steel. I mean, it's Superman. He always looks kind of goofy. And you managed to make him look even sillier. This is a guy who flies around in a blue jumpsuit with his underwear on the outside most of the time. And a bright red cape. He looks kind of goofy. I won't pretend he doesn't. I mean, Christopher Reeve, he looked pretty goofy in the costume too. But, you know, he still managed to make it look not entirely idiotic, if that makes any sense. That was also the most weird pronunciation of idiotic in history, but that's beside the point. The fact of the matter is, I look at the Christopher Reeve Superman, and it's like, okay, he's wearing a bright blue costume and a bright red cape, but he's a comic book superhero. Yeah, I get it. Now I look at Man of Steel, and it takes itself so disgustingly seriously, and it's all grim, dark, and all those words that basically amount to it takes itself too seriously and doesn't know when to have a little fun, even though it's based off of a freaking comic book. But, you know, there it's just a blue armored onesie pajama. Pajamas? Onesie pajamas? You guys get what I'm saying. And it's just like, did you fall asleep, fan? Yeah, you better freaking wake up. But, you know, sometimes those designs just plain suck. Okay, I can sell this. Guess I'm gonna sell that. Take it all! But, this is just me mostly ranting about reboots that I don't like. Or remakes. Remakes, reboots, you guys get the point. That kind of stuff. Oh, right, I can sell the big fish. They're worth more. Yep. But, you know, it's fine to take a few creative liberties, but you need to know when to stop. Hell, look at that freaking Bomberman reboot. The one that was on, what was it, the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One? It was on something, but they made it all grim, dark, and serious. And if you guys don't know what the original Bomberman looks like, all you need to do is check out my one-shot. Self-promotion is wonderful. But you look at the original Bomberman games, and there's a lot of them. And they're almost all a huge comedic blast. It never took itself seriously. It's a silly game from beginning to end, where you just blow shit up. And it's a wonderful game in that fashion. I absolutely adore the old Bombermans. And then I saw that rebooted one. It's like, why does he have a health bar? Why is this trying to be badass? It's Bomberman. You can't make Bomberman badass. He's Bomberman! And then, you know, we know how that ended. I don't think anybody has ever actually bought or played that game, nor should they. Okay, that's a little harsh. I do think that, at least to a certain degree, you should maybe play something before judging it. However, if the general feeling you get is overwhelmingly negative, then by all means, go with that feeling. I wanted to haggle. You betrayed me, controller. Like Harvest Moon. You look at this and you either think, well, it might be worth playing just because it's such a weird premise alone. So, you know, you give it a shot and it's like, I'm glad I tried it. It's weird and unique, but it's also pretty fun. That's fine. But then there's something you look at and it's just like, oh god, this looks freaking stupid. People would actually pay to play this? Then maybe you shouldn't play it. I know that's a bit hypocritical. A lot of my views are probably a bit hypocritical, but so be it. You know, there's some things where you just look at it and you know it's not something you should try. Nobody should force you. That Devil May Cry reboot looked pretty awful to me. I tried it and, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but that's the type of game where I'd probably even give somebody a dirty look if they gave it to me for free. It's the same way with a few games that have been coming out lately. Stuff like Xenoblade Chronicles and its sequel, and oh, what was the other one I was thinking of? There's another one that I can't for the life of me. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 15. I've seen that in action. I want no part of it. And that's coming from somebody who generally loves RPGs. But so many of them just, oh wow, open world. Whoop-de-doo, that's not special anymore. Especially since everything I've heard about those open worlds is relatively bland and lifeless, and whether there is something to do, it's pretty poorly implemented. Does that mean I'm absolutely right? Of course not. Does it mean I'm going to go out of my way and spend all that money to try it? Hell no! Why am I checking in here? I guess just 'cause. Could order something. Not that. I can't order that. Oh, I should get the Seed Maker. That's gonna put me back a few thousand, but it'll be worth it. It'll pay off later on. Anyway, some games I just look at and it's just like, I don't think I'd like it. Other games, depending on who tells me whether it's good or not, I might give it a try. Like Oblivion. I thought Oblivion was going to be crap. I'd never played an Elder Scrolls game, and frankly, the first-person perspective kind of put me off. It won me over. There are still aspects I don't like about it, but, you know, the open world in that actually has value. I mean, you can't kill everybody, if you decide to, but you can slaughter a lot of NPCs in the game, just if you feel like being a total psychopath. I look at a game like Final Fantasy 15, which apparently only has the open world for the first half of the game, and then it becomes linear. He does that exactly? But, you know, I look at that and the combat looks dreadful. The character models are embarrassing. I know graphics aren't everything, not my point. But the worst part is they try to force the non-linearity on you by being extremely linear. You have to get it powered up. You have to buy the giant robot to proceed. You need to do all these side quests in order to actually proceed with the main story. It's like, well, now you're being contradictive to the idea of open world. The idea of open world isn't simply just you can do a bunch of side events until you're able to do the main quest. The idea is you can do the main quest even if there are side quests. Or you can do the side quest even with the main quest active. You're given a choice between that. I don't want to play a game that says it's open world and non-linear, and then tells me that I can't continue with the main story because the side quests are still going on. Or something to that effect. I know, maybe I've got it wrong, but I'm going by what I've seen a lot of reviews say. And something that upsets me about a lot of those reviews is they still gave it an obscenely high score because, they ignored those issues despite pointing them out because, it's on the Wii U and the Wii U doesn't have any RPGs. You can't do that. It doesn't matter if it's the only RPG on the console. You have to point out its flaws and make them known as flaws. If you feel the rest of the game outweighs the flaws, then yeah, by all means, you can do that. But so many reviews I saw said that the game was kind of boring, that the open world was empty, that well, I guess I said the combat was boring. But, they sit there and say, the main scope of the game is absolutely unimpressive. And then they turn around and give it like a 9 out of 10 or whatever. And it's like, you were sitting there talking about how boring and bland it is. You can't give it a high score if you think that it is bad. That makes no sense. I know a lot of people were throwing a temper tantrum because Kotaku gave it like a 7.5 out of 10. But the funny thing is, that seems to be like the average score it got in Japan, too. And, I know reviews aren't the perfect thing. And even other people's word isn't always reliable. Heaven knows you should not listen to me because I have a pretty skewed look at things. But, the whole process with it makes no sense to me. They sit there talking about how a game is boring or the combat is uninteresting. That it's actually forcing you to do the side quests rather than continue with the main story, even if you're only interested in the main story. And it just blows my mind that people will sit there and say it has all these tremendous, horrible flaws, and then give it a 9 out of 10. And, 7.5 out of 10 is still a pretty good score. I might gripe and groan when a game I like doesn't get a higher score, but, even so, 7.5 out of 10, that's still pretty good. I know a lot of people would be like, well, that's a C in school. You can't apply grading like that to game reviews. Although I know a lot of people do. A lot of people were upset when Pro Jared said Xenoverse was 6 out of 10. But he gave valid reasons to it. Even if I rated a little higher on my personal scale, which I never use in a review because I know why a lot of people use it, but in my case, if I ever do a review, it'll probably simply be a recommended or not recommended type thing. But, he gave a lot of valid reasons. And more importantly, he said at the end that despite its flaws, he did enjoy it, that he was happy he bought the game. I know I enjoyed the hell out of Xenoverse. It has a lot of flaws, certainly. A lot of balancing issues. Where the hell did my horse... There's my horse. Couldn't see him for whatever reason. But, the game had some balancing issues. There's some fights that are a bit, odd in their placement. Like, you'll get a random difficulty spike sometimes. But in general, the game is, fun. And that's the most important thing. And, He talked about some of the technical issues, which have since been patched, and I think he said he'd rate it higher if they got those patches and such out. So, you know, maybe someday he'll say that he's rating it a bit higher because they fixed the technical issues, that kind of thing. And you know what? That's fine. And I don't think you have to agree with him. I mean, I know a lot of people will disagree with me that Xenoverse is the best Dragon Ball Z game. Or at least the best Dragon Ball, well, how can I put it? I think the Budokai games and Burst Limit are better fighting games. But Xenoverse better accurately represents the series. And I know a lot of people would say Budokai Tenkaichi is the best Dragon Ball Z game ever. I don't agree with that. Ooh, I got the dessert menu. If I'm being entirely honest, I think Budokai Tenkaichi is crap. I really don't like Budokai Tenkaichi at all. It's not a good game series. The Spike games were basically press button to win. I know a lot of people accuse Xenoverse of that, and to a point, they're not entirely wrong. You can do a lot by spamming as a Super Saiyajin. But did you know you can block every ultimate attack by simply doing a guard break? And then they're out of stamina, which means you can smack them around at your leisure. I really enjoyed Xenoverse. I enjoyed the feel of it. I enjoyed the look of it. I enjoyed the game. I think it was an excellent Dragon Ball Z title, and I really look forward to the sequel. Nope, no cutscene. I was hoping for a cutscene. Sorry. I know I was ranting this entire episode. But, you know, those are my thoughts on it. You don't have to agree with me, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. And wow, that was a long-ass episode. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back for the next one. I talk too much!